Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we're going to get into the story of the king and the handmaiden. Now, so I've already given you the background and the context of what the story is in, and there are four characters in the story. So let's see what Maulana Rum has to say. Oh, my friends, hearken to this tale, listen to the story. In truth, it is the very marrow of our inward state. So he's talking about our inward state, the human inward state, right? What is the state of you inside you, okay? So in the story, he wants to tell you the truth of what is your inward state. So let's go. In olden times, there was a king to whom belonged the power of the temporal and also the power of the spiritual. So the king here is Dunya Budash, whom Malk Deen. So he was Malk Dunya and Malk Deen. So he was the king of the world and the king of Deen, meaning this king was a ruler of the world. He had the physical kingdom of the world, plus he was a religious person. So the king in the story is the person who is religious as well as rich. Okay, so he has Deen and Dunya both, right? Now what happens to this king? It chanced one day that he rode with his courtiers to the chase. So one day he went out to the hunting, right? He went out with his courtiers, yani his soldiers. And what happened? On the king's highway, the king espied a handmaiden. So the king saw, his eyes fell on a handmaiden, a beautiful lady, right? She was a slave girl. The king was enthralled by her. Enthralled means he was taken by her beauty. He was engulfed by her beauty. She was very beautiful, so the king fell for her, right? For as much as the bird, his soul was fluttering in its cage, right? So just like the bird, his soul was stuck in the cage and it was fluttering in the cage. So he listened to his other part of his body, which is the nafs. He gave money and bought the handmaiden. So he bought the slave girl. Now what happens? The king falls in love with the girl and he buys her, okay? Now, after he had bought her and won to his desire, so he got her, right? And he took her by the palace. By divine destiny, she sickened. So the lady became sick. So the king bought her. When he took her to the palace, the lady became sick, and so sick that she couldn't, stand or walk or do anything. Now, Maulana Rum, in the middle of the story, brings an example here. He says that how the king got what he wanted, but what he wanted was of no use to him, was of no benefit to him. So the king fell for the girl, he bought the girl and acquired the girl, the lady, but the lady became of no use to him. So this is what happens in the world. A certain man had an ass, but no pack saddle. So a person has a donkey, but he has no saddle to ride the donkey. So you got the donkey, but you don't have a saddle. Now you're looking for a saddle, looking for a saddle, looking for a saddle. As soon as he got a saddle, the wolf carried away his ass, his donkey. So the man went looking for a saddle to buy, and he toiled himself, made effort to get a saddle. As soon as he got the saddle, the wolf ran away and ate up his donkey. So now you have what you are looking for, but the thing that you want to put this on has gone away from you. So you got one thing and you lost another thing, right? So this is what happens in the world. So the king got the girl, but now the girl has lost her health. So you got something, but at the same time you lost something. And then Rumi gives another example. He says, a person, he had a pitcher, so he has a pitcher, yani a bowl, but no water could be obtained. So you have a bowl, but you can't find water to drink. So you got the bowl, but there's no water to drink from, right? When he found the water, what happened? The pitcher broke. That bowl broke. So you had the bowl, there was no water. Now you're looking for water, you find water, but your bowl breaks. Now what are you going to do with the broken bowl? So you've got one thing, but you lost the other. When you found the other thing, the thing that you had is lost. So this is the scenario of the world. You run behind one thing, you think when I'm going to get this, I'm going to have it all. But when you get that, you lose something else. This is our inner state. We're always running behind something, right? When we get that what we want, something else is lost. Right. Now, getting back to the story. So the king gathered the physicians. So now the lady is sick. She's in the palace. The king is in love with her, but he can't have her because she's sick. So the king gathered the physicians, the doctors, together from left and right and said to them, the life of us both is in your hand, right? Both our lives are in your hands, meaning that, Rumi explains in the next line, my life is of no account. That don't worry about me. My life is not important. She is the life of my life. That my life is in her life. So if you save her, you save me. I am in pain and wounded, and she is my remedy. So I am in pain. I'm in love with her. I am deeply in, ishq with her. And I am in pain and I am wounded. And she is my remedy. If you cure her, you will cure me. So the king said further, whoever heals her, that is my life, will bear away with him my treasures and pearls, large and small. So whoever cures the lady will have all my treasures, my large treasures and my small treasures, all my wealth, I will give it to him. Okay? So then what happens? They all answered him saying, we will hazard our lives and summon all our intelligence. Yes, yani we will do everything in our possibility and put our intelligence together and put it into the common stock. And all of us will come together and put all our intelligence and our efforts and our whatever knowledge we have, whatever cures we have, we will put it all together in one common place and try to cure this lady. Now, the physicians, they said, each one of us is a messiah of the world, right, of people. In our hands is medicine for every pain. So the physicians, they had pride in their work. So they said, in our hands is the medicine for every type of sickness. Yani we can cure every type of sickness. But Rumi says here, look, in their arrogance, they did not say, Insha'Allah. They did not say, Insha'Allah, right? Therefore, God showed unto them the weakness of man. So they didn't include God's will, right? So then God showed them the weakness of man. So what happened? I mean, now Rumi says here, right, that I mean a case in which omission of saying the clause of omission of the saving clause is due to a hardness of the heart. So this, them not saying Insha'Allah, was because their hearts were hard and they were proud of themselves and their skills, right? Not the mere saying of these words, for that is superficial circumstance. So just merely saying Insha'Allah and having no belief in it is not going to benefit you in any way. You have to have belief and yaqeen in those words. So, in other words, what he's saying is that if yaqeen is in your heart, right, and you have certainty and belief in Allah, it doesn't matter whether you say it physically with your lips, Insha'Allah, or you don't say it. The Insha'Allah is already in your heart, right? But you get a lot of people, they have no yaqeen in their hearts. and they have no firm conviction in their hearts. They just saying, inshallah, I'll do this, inshallah, I'll do that, inshallah. So their inshallah is of no value. Okay. So saying inshallah is not going to change anything. You have to believe and have certainty in it. Now, how many a one has not pronounced the saving clause? The saving clause means inshallah. There are many people who do not say inshallah, and yet his soul is in harmony with the soul of it. Yani his soul is in harmony with the soul of it, yani the source. So there are many people whose soul are in harmony with source and connected to source, and they don't say inshallah, right? And yet their work gets done because their inward state is in connection with the divine. Okay, so saying inshallah or not saying inshallah is all dependent on what is inside your heart. If you have certainty, then that inshallah will be of benefit. But just saying inshallah for the sake of it is not going to benefit you in any way. Now Rumi continues. Can I zoom in for you a bit? So the more cures and coming back to the story, the more cures and remedies they applied, the more did the illness increase and the need was not fulfilled. So now the more they tried to treat the lady and give her different remedies, the more sick she got. She got worse and worse. The sick girl became thin as hair, right? So her health deteriorated in such a way that she became thin like hair, while the eyes of the king flowed with tears of blood like a river. The king was crying tears of blood like a river. And the lady is getting thinner and thinner and weaker, and she's about to die. Now, Rumi is describing whatever treatments they gave started having the opposite effect. By divine destiny, oxymel increased the bile. So oxymel is supposed to decrease bile in the body. But when they gave her oxymel, it's a type of treatment, this actually did the opposite. It increased the bile. And the oil of almonds was producing dryness. Now the oil of almonds is used to decrease dryness, is to increase moisture. But when they gave this treatment, it produced dryness. Allahu Akbar. So complete opposite of what they are trying to treat, right? And the treatment they are giving is doing the complete opposite. From giving myrobalan, right? Myrobalan is a laxative, right? It's a type of a laxative. So when they gave this to treat the constipation, the myrobalan, instead of releasing the constipation, it caused constipation. So from giving myrobalan, constipation resulted. So the laxative is having the opposite effect. It's supposed to clear away the stomach, but it's actually causing the stomach to hold back and causing constipation. Relaxation ceased and water fed the flames like naphtha, right? So water is supposed to cool down, but water increased the flames, yani the temperature of the body became hotter and hotter. They're trying to cool the fever with the water with coolness, but the coolness is increasing the temperature. Ajib. How it became manifest that the physicians were unable to cure the handmaiden, and how the king turned his face towards God and dreamed of a holy man. So now we reach a point in the story where the king saw that. When the king saw the powerlessness of these physicians, he ran barefooted to the masjid, to the mosque, right? Because I told you, he was a Dini person also. So he had deen and dunya, right? So he ran to the masjid barefooted, and he entered the mosque and advanced to the mihrab to pray. The prayer carpet was bathed in the king's tears. So the king ran to the masjid and started crying and crying and crying to Allah. On coming to himself out of the blood of ecstasy. So When he entered the state of ecstasy, this is called fana, right? There's a state where you reach, is called fana. Fana is where you let go of the ego and you go into a trance and you become connected to the divine. So he went into fana and he got out of his ego. He opened his lips in goodly praise and prayer. He started praising Allah and praying to Allah, saying, O thou whose least gift is the empire of the world. The smallest gift of yours, Ya Allah, is the whole dunya. That's the smallest gift of yours. What shall I say? Inasmuch as thou knowest the hidden things. Now the king is complaining to Allah and saying, what can I say to you? You know everything already. You know all the hidden things. O thou with whom we always take refuge in our need. Once again, we have missed the way. So the king is saying that you fulfill all needs. Once again, we have missed the way and we have gone towards the worldly things and we have not sought your help. So now we come back to you. But thou hast said, you have said, albeit I know thy secret. So although I know your secret, isn't Allah knows everything, but yet he said, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ, right? أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لِي. So call out to me, right? So although you know the secret, nevertheless, you have said to declare it forward in thine outward act. So although I know what is in your heart, Allah knows what is in your heart, but he has said, call unto me. Ud'uni astajib lakum. So therefore the king is saying, although you know my state, but I'm going to narrate it to you because you have said to narrate it. So when from the depths of his soul he raised a cry, right? So when the dua comes from the depth of the soul, right? So this is where I teach you the difference between prayer, dua, which is haqiqi, and dua, which is majazi, right? So the real prayer is from heart, from soul to source, okay? And the other prayer is from ego to ceiling. So the prayer that is from ego to ceiling, you're just complaining, Ya Allah, why me? Why are you testing me? Why am I suffering? You know, this is a prayer this is a dua from ego to ceiling. It's going to be of no value and no effect. But the prayer that is from soul to source, that one reaches Allah, right? So when from the depths of his soul he raised a cry of supplication, the sea of bounty begin to surge. So Allah's bounty begin to surge. The ocean begin to surge. So then what happened? Slumber overtook him in the middle of weeping. Whilst crying, the king fell into a slumber. And he saw a dream. He dreamed that an old man appeared and said, good tidings, O king, good news, O king, thy prayers are granted, your prayers are answered. If tomorrow a stranger comes for thee, and if tomorrow you meet a stranger, right, he is from me, he is from our side, okay? So when he comes, he is a skilled physician. Deem him veracious, for he is trustworthy, trusty and true. So consider him honest, right? He is trustworthy and he is true. So he is coming from the divine side. So sadiqash, consider him honest and loyal. Danka amin, he is amin, or sadiqas, and truly honest and true. Now, further in his dream, he was told, in his remedy, behold absolute magic. So you will see absolute magic in the remedy of the physician that we are going to send. And in his temperament, behold the might of God. You will see the qudrat of Allah. Naam, dar mizajish qudrat haq rabbabin. You will see in his temperament the might of God, the might of Allah. Now, when the promised hour arrived and the day broke and the sun, rising from the east, began to burn the stars. See the words Rumi uses. Beautiful, beautiful, beautifully paints a picture for you. So, when the promised hour arrived and the day broke and the sun rising from the east began to burn the stars. So, the sun is burning the stars, meaning the stars begin to disappear as day rises. SubhanAllah, how beautifully said. The king was in the belvedere, and standing in the balcony of his palace, expecting to see that which he had been shown mysteriously. So what he was shown in his dream, now he's waiting to see it in reality. Now, he saw a person excellent and worshipful. Worshipful is the wrong translation here. Excellent and very pious. A sun amidst a shadow. He was the sun amidst all the shadows. So all the physicians and doctors standing there are the shadows, and this one, he is the sun. Coming from afar like the new moon in slenderness and in radiance, so beautiful and shining like the full moon. So the king is seeing the man coming from far. Then the description is given. The man seemed as he was non-existent, though existent in the form of fantasy. Right? So the person was such that he looked that like he's not there, but at the same time, he is there. Okay? In the spirit fantasy is as not. So in the physical realm, it is as if he does not exist. Yet, behold a world turning on a fantasy. So, in the real physical realm, it seemed that he did not exist, but yet he could appear, right, in the spiritual realm. So he was between the spiritual realm and between actual physical realm. So sometimes he would appear to be there, sometimes it would appear that he is not there. So ajib appearance the man had. So their peace and now Rumi switches to another point. While he's narrating to you the story, he's going into another point here, right? So he's talking about, now he's talking to the human and referring to the human world, the physical world. Since he was talking about the physical world and the spiritual world, he switches to another point and he says, their peace and their war is just a fantasy, is just a illusion. Yani people's fighting and their winning and their war and their peace, this is just an illusion. It's not a reality. Their pride and their shame spring from a fantasy, from a illusion. So if they win their pride or if they lose their shame, they are all illusions. Nothing is real. In dunya, nothing is real. In other words, Rumi here in this line is actually making tafsir of the verse that وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا فِي الْآخِرَةِ إِلَّا مَتَاعٌ ذَلِكَ مَتَاعُ الْغُرُورِ ذَلِكَ مَتَاعُ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيا. Right? مَتَاعُ الْغُرُورِ, the goods of deception. So it seems like something, but actually it's nothing. So your wars and your peace, your sulh and your jang, your war is just according to your illusion, right? And your pride, your fakhr, your pride, your shan, your greatness and your wins and your victory, and your nangshan. Nangshan is your shame and your defeat and your loss. This is all just an illusion, right? So now in the middle of the story, Rumi just goes to another point. So whilst he mentioned about the person who came, it appeared that he was in the physical realm and in the spiritual realm. So since the two realms were mentioned, so he's telling you that in this physical realm, your peace and war and your pride and your loss are all illusionary. They're not real, right? They are just a mere illusion. Now, but those fantasies, but those things that you see, which ensnare the saints, right? Those things that you see that have the essence of the pious people, right? Or that have the essence of piety and goodness, are the reflections of the fair ones of the gardens of God. So, وَإِنَّ الدَّارَ الْآخِرَةَ لَهِيَ الْحَيَوَانِ, right? The world, this world is not a true life. The world of the hereafter, that is the real life, right? So in the appearance of which contains the saints, yani the pious and their actions, these are the reflections of the fair ones, the garden of God. So these are the ones that are amal of the akhirah, that really are true and they are not illusionary. Besides this, mata'ul ghurur, the rest is just an illusion of deception. Now, in the countenance of the stranger guest was appearing that fantasy which the king beheld in his dream. Now, coming back to the story, Rumi says that when he saw that stranger guest, it appeared to him the reality or the vision which he saw in his dream. So the person he saw in his dream, that person looked the same, the one who was appearing. The king himself, when he saw that this is the man, the king himself, instead of his chamberlains means his servants and his courtiers and all that, the king himself ran out of the palace and went forward to meet his guest from the invisible. From the invisible means from his palace, from his chamber. He went out of the gates of the palace, and he himself went to welcome and meet the guest. SubhanAllah. So here Rumi is teaching you adab, right? And you will see that soon, because he mentioned how the king meets the healer, the spiritual physician, he will talk about adab. Soon he will go into that topic right now. So you see, whilst talking about something, Rumi will go deep into the meaning of that thing. So when both met each other, when the king met the spiritual physician, both were seamen who had learned to swim. So the king was also a dini person, and the physician, the spiritual physician, obviously is a dini person. Both were seamen, yani both were ulama, and they both knew how to swim, of course. The souls of both were knit together without sewing. When their souls saw each other, they were knit together without sewing. So their souls met each other. Now, the king said, when he met the person, spiritual healer, right? The man sent from Allah, the king said, thou art my beloved in reality, not she. You are the person I love, really, not that lady. My love for the lady is just an illusion. My love for you, the soul love, that is real. The physical love, that is just temporary. So, thou art my beloved in reality, not she, not the lady. But in this world, deeds issue from deeds, right? But the world is such a place that other actions are connected to other actions. So the lady is the one who led me to you. You are my beloved, not her. But I had to fall in love with her to get to you. Because in this world, this is Darul Asbab, right? The world of Asbab. So one thing leads to another. O thou who art to me as Mustafa, as Muhammad alayhi salam, you are like Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam to me, and I am like Umar unto you. meaning you are like my Nabi and I am like Umar. So like how Umar radiallahu anhu was in front of Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and how Umar was humble and he loved the Prophet and he wanted to learn from him. Similarly, you are like Muhammad to me and I am like Umar for you. I will gird my loins to do these service. Yani, I will put myself to be in your khidmah, in your service. Right. Now, beseeching the Lord, who is our helper, to help us to observe self-control in all circumstances, and explaining the harmful, pernicious consequence of indiscipline. So Rumi is going to go into adab and be-adab, yani indiscipline. So Rumi continues and says, let us implore God to help us to self-control. Let us ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for tawfiq adab, to grant us the ability to observe discipline, right? Be-adab mehroom gasht az lutf Rabb. The one who lacks self-control, be-adab, the person who does not have discipline. The indisciplined person is deprived of the grace of the Lord. So be-adab mahroom gasht az lutf Rabb. The be-adab person is deprived of the lutf, of the kindness and the grace of the Almighty. So I told you he's going to go into discipline and it's going to describe discipline for you. Now Rumi is going into that topic of discipline and indiscipline. In the middle of the story, because he mentioned how the king approached the guest and he, instead of his servants and all, he went out himself to welcome and meet the guest, and he showed adab. So Rumi goes into the topic of adab now. So he says, the indisciplined man, the undisciplined man, does not maltreat himself alone, but he sets the whole world on fire. Allahu Akbar. So the undisciplined person, the be-adab person, does not only cause trouble for himself, but he sets the whole world on fire. Because one man's indiscipline can make the whole nation to suffer, right? One man's be-adab behavior can make the whole class to be deprived of goodness and lesson, right? So the person who is be-adab is not only harming himself, he is harming everyone else also. He's setting the whole world on fire. So if you don't have discipline, it's not only you're harming yourself only. Your indiscipline is depriving the world, can deprive the world, can deprive so many other people, So that's how important adab is, discipline is. Then he says, look, he gives you an example of what happened in history. A table food was coming down from heaven without buying and selling and without speaking and hearing. So a table food, he's speaking about that the Bani Israel, they were given food and drink, man and salwa, coming from the heaven, right? They didn't need to buy and sell and plant and harvest and do anything. Their food would come, right, from the heavens, straight. But look what they did. Because of some of them, their be-adab, their indiscipline, their misbehavior. When some of the people of Moses cried disrespectfully, be-adab, with disrespect, with indiscipline, they asked, the food is coming, everything is there. They asking, where is the garlic and lentils? Right? Because of their be-adab and disrespect, they asked, where is garlic and lentils? We're not getting garlic and lentils. So where is that? Subhanallah. You are getting 5-star meal every day without any effort, without any buying, without any struggle, without any your sufferings. Heavenly food is coming. And then you're asking, where is garlic and lentils? Where is dal and where is garlic? Shame on you guys. Shame on you. Pay other people these work. Anyways, because of their be'adab, look what happened. منقطع شد خوانان از آسمان. Straight away, the dishes of food that were coming and the bread that was coming from heaven were cut off. See, they remained for us the toil of sowing and laboring with mattock and sit. Now, because of this, because of their indiscipline, the food was cut off from the heavens. And now they had to toil and make effort of planting and harvesting and farming and laboring with spades and forks and what you call it, and the tools of farming. Now they have to make effort and suffer and toil and plant and then wait for the harvest to grow and then look after the harvest for months, and then only it will produce the food, and then they will harvest the food, and then they will have to crush it, and then they will have to cook it, and then they eat. Subhanallah. They were getting ready-made food from the heavens, but they wanted garlic and lentils. Ne? So Allah said, okay, you want garlic and lentils? Then work for it. Go and toil and labor and farm, and then you will get food on me. Subhanallah. See what be'adab can cause, what be'adab can result in, be'adbi. Then he gives another example. Look, in the time of Isa alayhi salam, again, when Jesus made intercession, see his people ask, أنزل علينا مائدة من السماء. Ask your Lord to send for us a tablecloth from heaven. So God sent food and bounty from heaven on trays. So the food came on trays from heaven. But once again, what happened? But once more, the insolent fellows, the indisciplined people, omitted to show respect and like beggars snatched away the viands, right? Started snatching away the foods and the items on the table. Jesus told them, Isa alayhi salam told them, although Jesus entreated them saying, this is lasting, why are you stocking up? This is lasting and it will not fail from off the earth. It will not disappear, right? This food is lasting. As much as you want to eat, eat. Don't stock up, right? But they were greedy. They started piling up and stocking up, and they didn't believe Isa alayhi salam. Isa alayhi salam, the rule was, eat as much as you want, do not stock up. So they thought, hey, it's going to get finished. They started stocking up. Out of their be'adab, look what happened. To show suspicion and greed at the table of the majesty is ingratitude. When you are at the table of the majesty of the majesty of the divine, right? The mighty table, to show greed and suspicion on that table is ingratitude. It is kufr, because they became greedy and ungrateful, and they showed suspicion at the table of the majesty. Look what had happened to them. Because of those impudent wretches who were blinded by greed, the gate of mercy was closed upon them. Allah. The table was taken away because of be'adab. Rumi continues and gives you another scenario. On account of withholding the zakat, the poor tax, if you don't give zakat, right? Man'i zakat, if you, on account of withholding the zakat, no rain clouds arise. The rain is held back. If you stop paying zakat, the rain is held back. And in consequence of fornication, because of zina, the plague spreads in all directions. Zina aftad, waba'an durjahat. Plague spreads in all directions because of fornication. And because of not giving zakat, rain is held back. Whatever befalls thee of gloom and sorrow, Yani whatever happens to you of troubles and tribulations and trials, right? And tough times and hard times and suffering is the result of irreverence, is because of bi'adab, irreverence and insolence. Yeah? It's because of your insolence and your irreverence of the Almighty and His commands. That is why all sorrow and gloom comes your way. So just absorb that. I'm going to have a sip of water. Anyone misbehaving, anyone behaving with irreverence in the path of the friend here, Almighty, is a brigand, is a robber, is a rogue, is a thief who robs men, and he is no man. He is shaitan, right? So anyone behaving with irreverence in the path of the friend is a thief, is a robber, is a brigand who robs men, and he is no man. He is not a man. The one who has be'adabi, indiscipline in him. Then Rumi continues and says, do you know what is adab? Do you know what is adab? Right? Do you want to know the reality of it? He says, adab, through discipline, this heaven has been filled with light. So the heavens are full of light because they have discipline, because they have adab. And through discipline, the angels became immaculate and holy. You know why the angels are so immaculate, perfect, and so holy and so pure and so bright? Is because of discipline. By reason of irreverence, the sun was eclipsed. So when the sun goes out of irreverence, it gets eclipsed. And the insolence caused Azazel to be turned back from the door. You know who's Azazel? Azazel was the name of Shaitan, was the name of Iblis. Before he became known as Iblis, he was known as Azazel, the pure mighty one, the pure pious one, right? Because of his insolence, he was turned back from the door. And Allah cursed him, and he became known as Shaitan al-Rajim. Now Rumi goes back to, after telling you about adab and how important adab is, he goes back to the story of the king and the maiden. So the meeting of the king with the saint and whose coming had been shown to him in a dream. Now, he, the king, opened his hands and clasped him to his breast. So when the king went out of the court and he saw the man, and he welcomed him and hugged him and received him like love into his heart and soul. So just see the adab of the king, what respect he showed for that wali of Allah, for that spiritual doctor. And began to kiss his hand and brow. So he gave him a kiss on his hand and he kissed his forehead and inquired concerning his home and journey. And he asked him, how was your journey? How's everyone at home? How's your family? See, adab. So with many questions, so after making the person feel welcome and asking him a lot of things, he led him to the days, to the days. Days means to the chamber. At last, said he. So entering the chamber, he said, I have found a treasure by being patient. So the king said to himself, because of my patience, Allah has bestowed me with a treasure. I have found a treasure. This man who has come, he is really a treasure. He said also, O light of God, O Nur of Allah, and defense against trouble, you are the one who is a defense against trouble. O thou who art the meaning of patience, who are the meaning of this hadith, الصبر مفتاح الفرج. See, معنى الصبر مفتاح الفرج. Now this is a hadith. Rumi is just indicating it to you that this is a hadith. So you, the person who has come, the guest, he's saying to him, you are the light of Allah, and you are the dafa haraj. You are the one who defends against troubles, because you are the wali of Allah. You are the true meaning of this hadith. Patience is the key of joy. As-sabru miftahul faraj. Patience is the key of all openness and all easiness and all joy. Because Allah says, إِنَّمَا يُوَفَّى الصَّابِرُونَ أَجْرَهُمْ بِغَيْرِ حِسَابٍ. نعم. So الصبر مفتاح الفرج. So you are the true meaning of this hadith. Still addressing the person, the king continues. Now, look, Rumi's style here. What happens to him? Whilst he's telling you how the king is praising the guest, he's going to go into a trance and he's going to start praising Allah, right? He's going to go into his own trance. So while narrating to you something, he will go into his own trance. So now if you are not watching what's happening to Rumi whilst he's talking, and you don't pay attention to his style, you won't understand what's going on here. So he's talking about the king praising that wali of Allah. In that context, he will start with his own context, where he will go into a trance and start praising Allah. So the king is praising the wali, and here Rumi is praising Allah. So let's see how it goes into the trance. O thou whose countenance is the answer to every question. So he's gone into a trance already, right? By thee hard knots are loosed without discussion. Subhanallah. So, O the one whose countenance is the answer to every question, by your wish, hard knots are loosened without discussion. Allah can open everything for you without any qeel and qal. Mushkilastu hal shud be qeel or qal. Without asking any question, you open all knots. So, O thou whose countenance is the answer to every question, by thee hard knots are loosened without discussion. Subhanallah. Now he's communicating with the divine. He's in a trance. He continues, thou interpretest all that is in our hearts. You know all that is which is in our hearts. Now he's speaking to the divine. Thou givest a helping hand to everyone whose foot is in the mire, right? So whose foot is stuck in the mire, you are the one who helps him out. Now here, he's in a trance still, right? Marhaban ya mujtaba ya murtada. Now here it's actual Arabic. Rumi is talking in Arabic here. Marhaban ya mujtaba ya murtada. إن تغب جاء القضاء ضاق الفضاء. So جاء القضاء ضاق الفضاء is actually a line of poetry from Imam Shafi'i, rahimahullah. Rumi adds it here to his kalam. Welcome, O chosen one, O approved one. In tagib, if you disappear, جاء القضاء, destiny will come upon us, and ضاق الفضاء, and the room, the wide room, will become straightened, will become narrow. So if you disappear, O chosen one, O approved one, right? Then the destiny, the qada will come. And when the qada comes, then the fada becomes narrow. And the wide room becomes narrow. Look, still in Arabic. أنت مولى القوم من لا يشتهي. Thou art the protector of people. Right? You have من لا يشتهي. He that desires thee, whoever desires you, right? قد رضى has gone to he that desires thee not, man la yashtahi, whoever desires you not, whoever does not desire you, has gone to perdition. قد رضى, he is gone to destruction. كلا لئن لم ينتهي, he is like the one whom Allah says لئن لم ينتهي, referring to the verse of the Quran, كلا لئن لم ينتهي Abu Jahl, ne? So Allah said to him, isn't كلا لئن لم ينتهي لنسفعا بالناصية? So Rumi is saying, look from where to where Rumi goes. Allah. This is so amazing. You know, from where to where he's gone. Ya Allah, Ya Rab. You are the guardian of people. You are the protector of people. And whoever desires you not is rejected and is gone to perdition, is destroyed. Same like كَلَّا لَإِن لَمْ يَنْتَهِي, like Abu Jahl, whom Allah said to him, if you do not stop your nonsense, لَنَسْفَعًا بِالنَّاصِيَةِ نَاصِيَةٍ كَاذِبَةٍ. So look at from where to where Rumi goes in one instance. So coming back, how the king led the physician to the bedside of the sick girl that he might see her condition. So Rumi comes back now to the story. I'm going to go to the next page here now. Okay, so when that meeting with the bounteous, with the spiritual one, right? When that meeting and bounteous repast was over, right? The spiritual conversation was over. He took his hand and conducted him to the haram. So he took the wali of Allah, the spiritual doctor, to the haram, to the place where the lady was, to the haram. Now, Rumi comes back to the story of the king and the maiden. He rehearsed the tale of the invalid and her illnesses. So he began telling the spiritual healer what happened to the girl and how she got sick, and all giving him the background. Then seated him beside the sick girl. The physician observed the color of her face, felt her pulse, and inspected her urine, right? Because from the urine you can make out what type of sickness is in the body. He heard both the symptoms and the secondary causes of her malady. So he listened to the symptoms, what is wrong with her, and what has caused her illness. He said, observing now and looking at all the treatments that she had been given and her symptoms and all those things, the physician said, the spiritual physician, now the real physician, he said, none of the remedies which they have applied builds up health. So all the remedies that they have given her, none of it is helping her up, building up her health. They, the false physicians, have wrought destruction. They have brought destruction to this lady. They were ignorant of the inward state. See, Bekhabar budanas hal darun. They didn't know anything about her inward state. They were only treating her physical body. But the sickness is not there. The sickness is inside. Asta'idullah mimma yaftarun. I seek Allah's protection from all their what they invent and what they have done to her. So here Rumi is explaining to you that there is a void in you, there is an emptiness in you, there is a discontentment in you, and you are trying to treat that sickness in you with all different types of physical treatments. None of the physical treatments is going to help, taking a holiday, buying new things, going to entertainment, watching entertainment things, and trying to feel happy, trying to fill that void by shopping, by eating, by spending time with friends, going on holidays, thinking you're gonna feel nice, gonna get contentment. You are ignorant of the inward state. And if you are treating outward state, or the inward state with outward sickness, with outward treatments, it is not going to work. I seek refuge in Allah from that which they invent. Asta'idullah mimma yaftarun. He saw the pain and the secret became open to him. See, when you're going to go to the right person, you get physical doctors and you get spiritual doctors. If you got a physical ailment, a physical sickness, go to the physical doctor. Go to the general practitioner, right? Or if you got a physical cut or a wound, go to the hospital. Go to the one who can treat that physical ailment. But if you have an inward problem, if the problem is inside, it's a spiritual problem, it's an emotional problem, it's a problem of discontentment, right? You cannot treat this with antidepressants and with all these other type of treatments. You need to go to a spiritual doctor. He's the only one that can make it out and know what is going on with you. So the physician, the spiritual physician, saw the pain and the secret became open to him. He saw the girl and he immediately understood this is not a physical problem. This is a internal problem, a emotional problem, a heart problem, right? It's a problem of the inward state. But the secret became open to the physician, but he concealed it and he did not tell the king. So the spiritual healer realized what's wrong with the girl, but he never told the king. He never told the king, right? Her pain was not from yellow or black bile. Her pain was not because of there was something wrong in her stomach, right? Or some digestion problem or some intestine problem or some thing she ate, all right? That wasn't her problem of black and yellow bile. But Rumi says, the smell of every firewood appears from the smoke. From the smoke, when you smell the smoke, you can know what firewood is burning, right? If you burn sticks of oud, from the smell of the smoke, from the appearance of smoke, you can tell this is oud burning, right? If you burn bakhur, incense, from the smoke, you can make out this is bakhur. So he could make out the sickness from the appearance of what he could see. He could know from there, this is not a physical problem, this is a spiritual problem. So Rumi says, the smell of every essence, every scent, every incense appears from the smoke. So from the smoke, you can know what is burning, which firewood is burning. Allahu Akbar. From her sore grief, he perceived that she was heart sore. The spiritual healer could see that this girl is not physically sore, she is heart sore. Well in body, her body is fine, perfectly healthy, everything is fine, there's no sickness in the body, but stricken in heart. Her heart is in pain. Now, what was the pain? Being in love is made manifest by the soreness of the heart. When you are in love, right, this becomes manifest when your heart becomes sore and painful, right? Ashki pedast azari dil, nis bimari chu bimare dil. There is no sickness like the sickness of the heart. Yeah. Yeah. Hats off to Rumi. There is no sickness like the sickness of the heart. Sometimes I just have to pause and absorb what I'm teaching myself. Rumi is deep, too deep. There is no sickness like the sickness of the heart. The lover's ailment is separate from all other ailments. See, illate ashikas, illataha judayast. The lover's ailment is separate from all other ailments. This is not like other sicknesses. The sickness of the heart, the sickness of the lover is different. Look, what words Rumi uses here, and if you could appreciate the Farsi here. Ishq ustur lab asrar khudast. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love, love, love. Ishq. It is the astrolabe of the mysteries of God. Sure. Ishq usturlab asrar khudas. Ishq is the astrolabe. Astrolabe? Astrolabe is an instrument which they used to find direction and to find time and to measure different things. It's an instrument, it's a scientific instrument to measure different things, right? So let me just show you what's an astrolabe. I'm gonna just copy the word from here and I'm gonna search it on the search Google for astrolabe. So this is the astrolabe. Let me open the images. So I'm just gonna open one. Yeah, let's open this one here. So the astrolabe determines the distance, how far the star is, where is the horizon, what is the distance between the horizon and the thing that you are looking at. The astrolabe is used to measure everything, right? And it has many, let's see if we can open up this picture. Usturlab, right? So this is the Usturlab. Look how many different pieces it has. See if we can open this picture. Just this picture. Right, so here is the Usturlab. It has a ring on top. There is a shackle here. There is a throne here. Then there is a metal front rim. There is hours here. This is the hours. 1, 2, 3, 4, and all that. There is a horse. This is the one of the keys of it, right? Sorry, the horse is here. There's a small measurement thing here. Let's zoom in. So there's a small horse here that measures, that moves all the other things here. This is the rule. That inner circle there is the rate, the read. Okay? Then you have here is the ecliptic. Then this thing here is the star pointer, right? Then this part here is the unequal hour line. Okay? And then there's another part here of the astrolabe, the stereographic projection of local coordinates. Oh, ya Allah. Then there's a tympan. You know what is an astrolabe? Yeah. If you can appreciate the complexity of this instrument, subhanallah, you can understand what Rumi is talking about. This is an astrolabe, astrolabe, oh, astrolabe, however you want to pronounce it. Okay. So the ring is used to suspend the astrolabe, typically from the thumb. The shackle connects the ring to the throne by which is the top of the astrolabe body. Okay? The mater. Where's the mater? Mater. This is the mater here. The front rim. The mater. The astrolabe body, so named from the Latin word mother, because it holds all the tympans, plates within itself. The raised rim of the mater is divided into degrees and 24 equal hours, used in our modern timekeeping system. So the astrolabe, the outer mater of it, the front rim, has 24 hours, right? Then let's see what's the tympan. Tympan, the inner one now, this one here. Tympan, an inner plate engraved with one or more projections of the sky for particular latitude and quadrants of unequal hours, right? Stereographic projection of local coordinates, arcs of altitude, and azimuth for a particular latitude engraved onto the tympan. They form a grid on which to locate stars, unequal hour lines used to find the time using a system of seasonal unequal hours that divide every day and night into 12 hours. Yo, subhanallah. What's the reed? What does the reed do, this part here? The reed, named from the Latin word for net. This pierced disc is a map of the sky. Yo. It is a stereographic projection of the great celestial circles and stars onto the plane of the celestial equator. Where? As seen by one looking up at it from the South Pole. The tip of a star pointer indicates the position of a bright star on the map. The offset circle is the ecliptic, the path of the sun, and the planets through the 12 signs of the zodiac. Yo. See the next figure for the reed removed from the astrolabe. The rule, an index for lining up points on the ecliptic and the outer scales on the meter and in order to read the astrolabe. Guys, this is an astrolabe. Do you know how complicated and how comprehensive, and the word I'm looking for is sophisticated this thing is? Do you know how sophisticated this thing is? Yo, you can take out years, you can measure years from here, you can measure stars with this, you can measure zodiac signs with this, right? You can find your way in the day, in the night, you can find time with this, you can find direction with this. Oh, it's the everything, the ultimate tool of, you see the one that we have today, the GPS. The GPS is just one part of this. This is the holy grail of everything. So this is an astrolabe. Now this can guide you in the physical world. It can show you time, the place you are, the direction you are, where are the stars located, where is everything you can find with this. Now what Rumi says, the reason I'm showing you this is I want you to understand the sweetness of this line. Illate ashik za illate ha judast. The lover's ailment is different from all other ailments. See, love, 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 ishq, usturlab. Ishq is the astrolabe, all right, of the secrets of God. So love is the astrolabe, the tool which can show you and guide you and make you understand the secrets of Allah, the secret of God, mysteries of God. So if you have ishq, you have the instrument to reach the secrets of the Almighty, the Divine. Absorb that. It's so deep, I just can't move from this line. It's like I have to absorb it. Ishq usturlab asrar-e khudast. Okay. Trying to absorb it still. Okay. Whether love be from this earthly side or from that heavenly side. Ashiki garzinasir garzanasir ast. Whether love is of the worldly love, right, the earthly love, whether you're talking about the divine love, whether love is from man or to woman, or whether it's a divine love, whichever love you look at, Akibat mara badan sirra barast. In the end, it leads us to the divine himself. So love, whether it be love of this earthly love, whether it be divine love, end of each love is it will take you to the beloved himself. It will take you to the beloved himself. Salute to Rumi. Hats off. Now, he says, whatsoever I say in exposition and explanation of love, Rumi says, whatever I'm going to say in exposition and explanation of love and describing love to you, right? He says that when I come to love itself, when I start talking about love, I am ashamed of that explanation. I can't explain love, right? Although the commentary of the tongue makes all things clear, yet tongueless love is more clear. Look, garcha tafsir-e zuban roshan garast. The tongue makes explanation of everything and makes it clear, right? But lek ishq be zuban roshan tarast. But love, unexplained, is more clear. Tongueless love is clearer. You can't explain love. Love on its own explains itself. Subhanallah. Then he says, whilst the pen was making haste in writing, so I'm writing about everything, the pen is writing. When it came to love, it split upon itself as soon as it came to love. When I started to write about love, the pen broke in half. Allahu Akbar. In expounding it, yani love, in trying to explain love, the intellect lay down helplessly. Akal got lost and submitted itself in humility, trying to explain love. You cannot understand it with your intellect. Love, as they say, is blind. You know, that means something. You cannot explain love. Love is just love, right? In expounding love, the intellect lay down helplessly, like an ass in the mire, like a donkey stuck in mud. Now, a donkey stuck in mud, right? He can do everything to get out of that mud. He will not be able to get out. That donkey who is stuck in mud is an example of a person trying to explain love. You can never explain it. Sharha ishq o ashiki, ham ishq guft. It was love alone that uttered the explanation of love and lovehood. Sharha ishq o ashiki, the explanation of love and lover. Ham ishq guft, love itself can only explain. Nothing else can explain it. Then he uses an example here. And this metaphor is one of the best you can find in the whole of Masnavi. Aftab Ahmed Dalil Aftab. Yeah. The proof of the sun is the sun himself. If you want to know what the sun itself is the proof of what it is. You don't need a description. Too deep, Rumi. Too deep. Aftab, Ahmad Dalil Aftab. The sun is proof of itself. The proof of the sun is the sun himself. Gar dalilat bayad azu rumta. If thou require the proof, if you want proof of the sun, do not avert thy face from him. Don't turn your face away from the sun. Now, the sun he is talking about here is not the physical sun that is out there. Rumi is referring to a different Shams. And here, because Shams has been mentioned, now he's going to go into Shams, his Shams, Rumi's Shams, and that is his teacher, who is Shams Tabriz, right? So Aftab Dalil, Aftab Ahmad Dalil Aftab. The sun is the proof of the sun himself. The proof of the sun is the sun himself. If thou require the proof, do not avert thy face from him. Now, if the shadow gives an indication of him, if the shadow is an indication of the sun, see, when you see the shadow, automatically there is the sun. Because of the sun, there is a shadow, right? If there was no sun, there would be no shadow. So watch what Rumi says. If the shadow gives an indication of him, right, of the sun, then the sun himself gives spiritual light to every moment. Now, what's the Farsi here? As we are, Saya Nishani Midhat, Shams Hardam Nur Jani Midhat. If the shadow gives indication of him, then the sun himself gives the spiritual light to every moment. So if the shadow is the indication of the sun, imagine how powerful the sun must be. The sun gives the spiritual life every moment. And the Shams he's talking about here is not the physical sun. He's referring to his teacher now. He's going in another trance, right? He's referring now to the Shams here is referring to his teacher. And he says that if that sun outside, if the shadow is the indication of that sun, then the sun that I'm talking about is the one that gives spiritual life to every moment of yours. Now, he goes further into the trance. Saya khwab arat taraham chun samar. The shadow, like chat in the night hours, brings sleep to thee. So the shadow, like chat in the night hours, brings sleep to thee. So when the sun is gone and the shadow comes, the night comes, you go to sleep, right? But watch. When the sun rises, the moon is cloven asunder. June bar ayat shams in shaqqa al-qamar. When the sun appears, the stars disappear. What is he talking about here? In shaqqa al-qamar is a verse of the Quran there. اقتربت الساعة وانشق القمر. He's saying when my shams appears, when my teacher appears, all the stars disappear. It's quite deep here, but I'm not going to go too much into detail. I'm just going to give you the surface here. I'll let you swim deep yourself. There is nothing in this world so wondrous, strange as the sun. There is nothing in the world so wonderful and so strange like the sun. The sun again, Shams Tabriz, his teacher. The everlasting spiritual sun which has no yesterday. The everlasting spiritual sun which has no yesterday. It is timeless. Although the external sun is unique, still it is possible to imagine one resembling it. See, he says, the external sun, the sun outside is unique, right? But it is still possible to imagine the one resembling it. You can still imagine someone who is being resembled with the sun outside. But the sun which Rumi is talking about, but the sun by which the ether was brought into existence, that sun that brought the ether into existence has no peer, has no like of it. So the Shams, the sun that gives light to your ruh, to your spirit, right? There is no equivalent or similar you can find to that sun. Now, where is room in the imagination for his essence? Now he's gone into a trance. Where is room in the imagination of his essence of the Almighty, the Divine? That the like of him should come into the imagination. Can the like of him, of the Divine, come into the imagination? Never. Now, when the news arrived of the face of Shamsuddin, of the face of Shamsuddin, now that I am talking about Shamsuddin, the son of the religion, Shamsuddin, his name is Shamsuddin Tabrizi, rahimahullah. The sun of the fourth heaven drew in his head, hid itself for shame. Now that the mentioning of Shamsuddin has come, the sun of the fourth heaven has disappeared and hid itself. Because Shamsuddin is brighter than all the suns in existence. Since his name has come to my lips, Rumi is saying, I can't hold myself. The name of my teacher has come to my lips. It behoves me, it is befitting me now to set forth some hint of his bounty. I must mention some of his qualities. He says, at this moment, my soul has plucked my skirt. He has caught the perfume of Joseph's vest. Yusuf alayhi salam's shirt, Yusuf alayhi salam's shirt, Yaqub alayhi salam could smell it from miles and miles away. Now Rumi is using that simile. He says, at this moment, my soul has plucked my skirt. My soul has plucked my skirt, meaning I'm not in my senses. I'm out of my body. He has caught, and my soul has caught the perfume of Yusuf's vest. I can smell Yusuf's vest. And my soul has caught onto that perfume. He said, now this is a conversation between Rumi and his Ruh. Right? This is a conversation between Rumi and his soul. Okay, he has gone into a trance. We were talking about the king and the Magian, but the mentioning of the sun came in the middle. Rumi went into the description of his teacher, and then from the description of his teacher, describing to his teacher, he has gone into the description of the divine. He has gone into a trance, right? Now, whatever he's going to mention here, I'm not going to be able to give you 100% explanation of what conversation goes on here between Rumi and his soul. It's just for you to grasp with your spirit, with your soul, because your ears cannot understand what's going to happen here, right? The next few lines are pure trance, okay? So I'm just going to read what Rumi is saying, and I'm not going to try to explain too much. I'm going to leave to you for your spirit to understand what is being said here, okay? So Rumi is in a trance, and whatever is being said here is a conversation between Rumi and his soul, and the soul talking to source. And this is being written down by his student, Husamuddin. He's writing down whatever Rumi is saying in his trance. Okay. So if you get the next few lines, you get it. If you don't get it, don't worry about it. It's beyond physical space, time, and matter. Right. I'm just going to read. I'm not going to explain, okay? Because this can't be explained. It's pure trance. He said, for the sake of our years of companionship, recount one of those sweet ecstasies. The earth and heaven may laugh with joy, that intellect and spirit and I may increase 100-fold. As I said, I'm not explaining. You understand it? Good. Don't understand it? Good. The earth and heaven may laugh with joy, that intellect and spirit and I may increase 100-fold. Rumi himself says, لا تكلفني فإني في الفنا. Do not lay tasks on me, for I have passed away from myself. لا تكلفني فإني في الفنا. كلا تفهمي فلا أحصي ثنا. My apprehensions are blunted. I know not how to praise. So he's in the presence of the divine. He's in absolute ecstasy. And he's saying also he's in ecstasy. لا تكلفني فإني في الفناء. كلا تفهمي فلا أحصي ثناء. Do not lay tasks on me, for I have passed away from myself. My apprehensions are blunted, and I know not how to praise. كل شيء قاله غير المفيق. Everything that is said by the one who has not returned to consciousness. So anyone who is in a state of trance, whatever he says, right? Whatever the person who is not in his consciousness says, right, is not to be understood by the physical ear. إن تكلف أو تصلف لا يليق. If he constrains himself or boastfully exaggerates, so if he keeps quiet and doesn't say anything, or he boastfully says something in exaggeration, it is unseemly. It's not for you to understand with your physical ears. Just absorb it. How should I, not a vein of mine is sensible? So how should I, whilst not a vein of mine is sensible, describe that friend who has no peer? How can I describe to you that friend, yani the divine, who has no equivalent, no similar? أَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. The description of this severance and this heart's blood do thou at present leave over till another time. Yani the explanation of this severance, my separation from source, and this heart blood, the bleeding of the heart, pain that I'm going through when I'm separated from source, and what happens there. So this, he's saying, leave it for another time. I cannot explain it to you right now. So he's still in trance. So he's telling you, I cannot describe to you this separation and this heart blood at present that I'm experiencing. Leave it for another time. Leave it for another time. But my soul, Rumi is still in trance. The soul says, قال أطعمني فإني جائع. He said, feed me for I am hungry. Ah, sure. Too deep, too deep, too deep. Hey, give me a moment because I am also kind of going in ecstasy and I'm not really present here. قال أطعمني فإني جائع. He said, feed me, for I am hungry. واعتجل فالوقت سيف قاطع. And hurry up, for time is a cutting sword. I said, Sufi ibn al-Waqt, Bashud e Rafiq. Sufi, the true Sufi, the pure Sufi, the real Sufi, is the one of the present time. The real Sufi is Ibn al-Waqt. Sufi Ibn al-Waqt. Sufi lives in the present moment, not in the past, not in the future. There is no past, there is no future. The only reality is the presence, the present. It's only an eternal now. So Sufi is in this eternal now, in this present moment. That's where the Sufi lives, not in the past, not in the future, in right now, in this eternal now. O comrade, it is not the rule of the way to say tomorrow. If you are a true lover, there is no such thing as tomorrow. It's an eternal now. Art not thou indeed a Sufi then? So he's telling his soul, are you not a Sufi then? You're telling me to hurry and rush. I'm telling you that the Sufi is in the present, in the eternal now. So why are you making me rush? There is no tomorrow that I must rush for. Art not thou indeed a Sufi then? That which is in hand, that which is right now, that which is in hand is reduced to naught by postponing the payment. He's saying that that which is in hand, the cash that you have in your hand, if you're going to say, I'm going to pay you tomorrow, that money that you have right now is going to disappear. It's going to be spent on something else. So what you have now, take advantage of it. Because tomorrow is not promised to anyone. I said to him, I'm trying my best not to not to go in a trance here myself. I'm trying to remain here, trying to explain the words here, but I can't stop myself from entering ecstasy myself. I said to him, it is better that the secret of the friend should be disguised. Right? I said to him, it is better that the secret of the friend should be disguised. So tell me his secret in another way. Disguise it for me. Do thou hearken to it as implied in the contents of the tale. You listen to it as it is narrated in the contents of the story. Right? So he's going to disguise the secret of the friend. My hands are finding it difficult to scroll here. It is better that the lover's secret should be told in the talk of others. Okay? It is better that the lover's secret should be told in the talk of others. But my soul is saying, he said, tell this openly and nakedly. Tell me openly and nakedly everything. Open it up unto me. Talk of religion is better overt than covert, right? The talk of religion is better to be done openly than to be done by a cover, under a cover. It said, lift the veil and speak openly and nakedly. Tell me what you are seeing openly and nakedly. I want to see for myself. For I do not wear a shirt when I sleep with the adored one. So when the lover sleeps with the beloved in the world, there's no covers, there's no barriers between them. So between me and my beloved, there is no barrier. Lift the veil. Speak openly. I do not wear any veils when I am in accord with the adored one. The words here are two. Yeah. They are too deep. I said, if he should become naked in thy vision, if he should become totally removed of veils in your vision, then neither you will remain, nor thy bosom, nor thy waist. If the beloved should reveal himself to you, neither you will remain, nor your chest, nor your waist. You will disappear. So, ask thy wish, but ask with measure. Be careful what you're asking for. A blade of straw will not support the mountain. A strand of grass cannot hold the weight of the mountain. So be careful what you're asking. If the sun, by whom this world is illumined, should approach a little near, if the sun comes little bit nearer, all will be burnt. The whole world will disappear. Do not seek trouble and turmoil and bloodshed. Say no more concerning the son of the breeze. Don't seek trouble and turmoil and bloodshed. Ask no more concerning the son of the breeze. This mystery has no end. This mystery has no end. Tell of the beginning. Go, relate the conclusion of this tale. Rumi comes out of the trance now and comes back to the story of, I'm lost right now. I don't know where I am. Trying to find myself. Okay. We're going to stop there and continue from here tomorrow. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.